I'm David Farmer from the American Institute of Mathematics. Today we're going to talk about the teaching statement, which is one of the components in an application for a tenure track position in mathematics. Different institutions give different weighting to the teaching statement in the hiring process. Not surprisingly, this correlates to the different weightings they give to the value of teaching at their institution and to the different levels to which they consider teaching in the promotion and tenure process. Many teaching statements are permutations of platitudes, such as, "I like to teach to the aha moment," or "I want all students to see the beauty of mathematics," or "I believe all students can succeed." While those statements may be true, in this video we'll see that a good teaching statement is a reflection upon the teaching process, showing your growth as a teacher, supported by specific examples of what you do in the process of teaching.
Teaching statements were often read more by the dean than anybody else. It's closer to that's something they can understand. If they read your research statement, they're probably lost at the first or second sentence. So this is something other administrators you get to talk to will focus on. And it's important for deans that you get good teachers, because they don't want the students to be happy, because that brings in tuition dollars.
When I was on hiring committees, I did read the teaching statement. Some of them were very good. Others sort of said the same thing over and over. What I was always looking for was someone who was going to be a good teacher, but would also be able to sustain some research at a place where the teaching level is high. So I was kind of looking for clues in the whole packet for that. I do have some thoughts about what should be in it. So a lot of them, unfortunately, a lot of them sound the same. And people tend to say that, their goal is to motivate students to do mathematics, to think in a critical way. Those are not bad things to say, and we all do kind of want that. But they become kind of repetitive and a bit boring a lot of the times when you're reading them. My advice is to think about the teachers that really helped you succeed, and to think about what they did, and to give very specific examples, and to not say, I want to teach students mathematics by motivating them to understand why mathematics solves real world problems. Well, first of all, that doesn't work, and and the people reading these statements are, they're going to be experienced teachers. But what is really good is to somehow give examples of what you think helps, very specific things. And if you can think back and think about people that did that for you and say why, I think that is really, that can make a difference in a teaching statement. I'll leave it at that.
I like that, because one thing is, if you don't have much experience teaching, you do have a lot of experience being in a classroom.
That's right.
And so you can talk about that even, with limited teaching.
And so when you do that, even if you're giving examples, no matter what the examples are, it makes it seem like you've given some thought to this. You've given some thought to what is good, and you're not just kind of repeating the cliches that everybody says.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to avoid making your teaching statement just a laundry list of platitudes and cliches.
Right.
So I think it's a chance to be personal. Maybe that's the danger of being personal. And I think some concrete story in your teaching statement makes you come across as a person, and it's a lot more engaging, interesting for the people reading the statement. I like to just see that the person writing, the applicant, had given some thought to the process of teaching, and maybe reflected on the process of learning as a student, and some concrete anecdote or description It helps bring that across. I worry. I didn't like to see someone who thought that they had figured out the perfect system for teaching, whatever that happened to be. I think seeing some flexibility, seeing the willingness to learn and adapt is a benefit. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's any single way to do it, but
I don't either. But it is a place where your personality can show through a bit too, and so it can be a real advantage, I think, if you can do it in a way that brings that out.
Right, because I think that's one of the biggest criticisms is that you read them and you can't tell if a machine just generated a whole bunch of random sentences in different
I'm sure you
orders.
can find dozens or hundreds of thousands of examples on the internet now.
Right, and so that's my piece of advice is don't read any other people's statements. I think that's just puts you in the wrong frame of mind. I think of it as it's truly the thing that that distinguishes you, and I think that's the thing that makes it so hard to write, is that it's not the actual writing, it's what you want to say, right? And so I think you have to think about, when you're in a teaching setting, when you're in a classroom, what is the most important, or one of the most important aspects you want students to take away from the course? Okay, it could be a course in any subject, but in 20 years from now, they're not going to remember how to do, they may not know how to do the chain rule, but what was it that they enjoyed in that course? What was the thing that sort of a technique you gave, or a perspective, or something that you really worked hard to convey? Maybe it's a way to approach a problem, or maybe it's multiple. It's some skill that goes beyond the content of what you're teaching and is common probably to many of the courses that you teach, and it's hopefully going to be different to each of you. And it takes a lot of figuring out or time to think about, to figure out what that piece is. But once you have it, you can really write a very personal statement that rings true, that says there's a human being behind this. And then if you can sort of try, and then anecdotes I think are important. Something that I can remember and say, oh, that's the person who, went crazy and started giving all these office hours and gave students step-by-step instructions and realized, oh, that was the wrong thing to do. And then they were getting great evaluations, and then she turned it around and has been more sort of, getting them to learn on their own. And she's struggled with a few things which she's reflected on, but feels like she's on the right track. Well, that tells me there's a person there who's thinking about what they're doing and is flexible and is responsive and recognizes that teaching isn't a set of steps. Like sometimes you see these statements, I hate to poison you, but it's, you say, the steps to good teaching are step 1, do this, step 2, do this, engage the student, motivate the thing, define things clearly, It's not a recipe, and it can't be, because there's different, you have to remember, it's not how you teach, it's how you interact with students, and it's the students who are so different, and how do you adapt? That's really, that has to come through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to echo that. It should be about you and not about some philosophy you picked up from books or tried to reinvent the world. It should be about your experiences. Let me add something to what I said before. While we don't ask for a teaching statement, we care enormously about teaching. It's extremely important that faculty do well as teachers, but we feel we need to basically mentor them to become good teachers. A lot of people in applied mathematics have been RAs throughout grad school, have had postdocs without any teaching, and might not ever have stood in front of a classroom. So we care a lot about teaching. The department has won the university-wide teaching award, but what for a mathematics department this is unheard of. We snap up most of the teaching awards for faculty, so we really have lots of faculty excelling in teaching, but I really feel you don't have yet the experience to be good teachers, and so why should we ask you about the philosophy of something you really haven't had the time to develop? And so I feel we need to give you the tools to get there as a faculty, rather than expecting you already to have invented the wheel.
Right. In fact, at our institution, we don't look for teaching excellence. We look for potential for teaching excellence. And so, and we word it carefully in our job description too. We just want to know people who, with enough time and practice and support, can actually be excellent teachers and enjoy doing it.